Hello and welcome to another episode of, we call it Talk Right Today, TWT. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about being a corporate archer. Now, the word archer itself, well, I really have no idea or clue what exactly this is. I'm going to actually leave it to Mayur to explain. It's something that he came up with. And then we're going to talk about what does it mean and why is it so important to be a corporate archer. I know it's something to do with concentration, focus, aiming at something, but let's get to know more about it. Well, joining me again on, as always, on our show is my friend, my colleague Mayur. So, Mayur, over to you.
Thank you so much, and hello to all of you for watching this session. Um, and always a pleasure, Santosh, to be in touch. I think when you put this ball in my court, explain corporate archer, got me a little dumbfounded in the sense that I was thinking to myself as well when I was thinking about the topic,
Hmm.
because our viewers who are watching, they should be treated to something which is a little different. And when I say this not only because it has to be different, it has to be effective as well. And one idea that a thought that came into my mind was that when a person joins an organization, Santosh, just like a sportsman who gets into the arena, maybe an athlete, maybe a cricketer, maybe a table tennis player, or maybe even an archer, when he gets into the arena, it's almost similar to a professional who gets into an organization. That's the correlations I was sort of drawing.
Yeah,
And then I thought, might as well bring it out and share it with the viewers. So, viewers,
absolutely.
this is a very, very, it's not a very over prepared and kind of stuff. In fact, I want you to also think, viewer, about how would you correlate an archer or a sportsman to an organization? But from my side, let me share a few things, Santosh, and to all the viewers. See, I have always felt that across different sports, archery is something that has been very intriguing. Even if you look at our mythology, you know, um, Arjuna was always known and is always known as an excellent archer. Dronacharya was an excellent teacher in archery. But as an activity, an archery process is something which requires, like you very rightly alluded to earlier, Santosh, it requires the person to not just go and do just shoot arrows. There's an English saying which says shooting arrows in the air. मतलब वो पता नहीं वो क्या बात कर रहा है. He's just shooting arrows in the air. But the counter to it is, if you want to win a competition in archery, you need to be really prepared, planned, and you need to practice. But at the outset, what I want to say is, just as an archer goes into the arena and displays his competency as an archer, similarly, a professional, when you join an organization, there are certain things which are similar to what an archer should have. And let me begin with the first thing, which is a target. So, and I'm going to sort of keep relating it, Santosh, and please jump in wherever you want to add value to it as well. I've always felt that when a person joins an organization, one of the first things he or she must do, I feel, is identify his short term, medium term, and long term target. जैसे जब भी एक आर्चर आता है, imagine he comes with the best bow, the best arrow, but he doesn't know where to shoot. Or he's got so many targets, he doesn't know where exactly, like which is the target that he wants to shoot at. And similarly, when I join an organization, in the next 3 months, what is my game plan? Maybe I'm in sales, maybe I'm in marketing, maybe I'm in finance like you are, maybe somebody's in HR. But setting milestones is very important for the same person too. See,
Yeah,
sometimes you'll have a senior who will do that for you. Like he'll say, Chalo, I'll tell you what is expected of you in the next 6 months or whatever. Have you also evaluated or identified your goals and targets? This is the first thing which an archer does is he looks at the target. And as he sees the target, when I say target for an archer, viewers, it's not just seeing the target, the bullseye. It's about also calculating the distance. It's also understanding the atmosphere that he is in. Do you know there are people who also look at the wind speed? If you look at the commentary that happens in an archery session, Santosh, they also calculate the winds, because when the arrow is shot, it also depends upon the winds, right?
yeah.
So they
The
even
pace at
shoot.
which it goes. Yeah,
Yeah, the what they call typically is the trajectory of the arrow is also influenced by the environment that the archer is in. So if it's a windy sort of situation, he needs to also know exactly how to sort of shoot the arrow. He just can't shoot it straight. So that kind of calculation is also an important part of he not only identifying the target, Santosh, also then trying to accomplish his target, in
Yeah,
which he has to look at the
absolutely.
other scenarios.
Yeah,
So, see, viewers, this session is really a food for thought for you as well. Okay, we are exploring this because a lot of times when we share something, it could be sort of pleasantly easy, you're understanding, fine, you think, but this is where we want you to also think, where you see yourself into an organization, you getting oriented, fine, and then you say, like an archer, have I identified what I need to do? I'm in accounts, so I need to learn something more, or I need to sort of impress my boss in a particular way by doing some things. That, Santosh, for me is also a reflection of passion,
yeah.
because a
In
lot of
fact,
times I've seen people
yeah.
joining in
In
and
fact,
not doing much.
yeah.
Yeah,
In fact,
sorry,
you
carry on.
mentioning about Archer. I mean, I recall one of my organizations when I joined, and it was our induction program in the organization, and the head of HR said this to us, saying that you should start thinking about your next role from today.
Wow.
Imagine the depth it had, because
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. Are you focused? Are you really, what is your target? It's not about, so what you have already achieved, and that's why you are there in the organization, right? Because through
sure,
your interview process, you have achieved what you wanted, and the organization has achieved by appointing you. But now,
sure.
what's your next step? You should be starting to think about your next level in that same organization. And I
Sure,
think
sure,
that was a
sure.
way of motivating you, or kind of
Yeah,
bringing you to a next level, and start thinking about
absolutely.
it from day one. I think that's what I think
Absolutely.
you also are trying to aim at. Yeah,
Yeah, in the sense that, see, viewers, remember, when, and Santosh, that's a good point, that when somebody asks you, as you join an organization, to see yourself in a new role, imagine.
yeah,
And that's that target setting that matters so much.
yeah.
मेरा यही कहना है संतोष कि अगर टारगेट नहीं है, it's like two
Rudderless.
teams playing two teams playing football without goalposts.
Correct.
Just
Yeah,
imagine how
agreed.
they'll be helter skelter because they don't know where to hit the ball, but they're all
Yeah.
skilled people. But that brings me to the next point, which is connected to archery. So if I were to, so I thought rather than just talking about archery, I have actually got a little bit of archery here, viewers.
Mhm.
If you can see, I think you can see that, no, Santosh?
Yeah, yes,
It's the arrow, right? But if I bring the arrow point closer to the camera, what you see is it's sharpened,
yes.
right? It's not blunt, it's sharpened. It's like a pencil, which you write only when you sharpen it.
Hmm.
The arrow being straight is important. Having these aspects to it will help the flight of the arrow. But at the end of the day, viewers, sharpness is very important. Now, how I'm trying to correlate this is very simple from my side. Is the question I have to ask myself is, okay, I've got the target set. All right. Am I sharpening my own skills? They say that a knife is only good when it's sharpened, right? Otherwise, a knife looks good, but if it isn't sharpened, it will not deliver its purpose. Similarly, an arrow without sharpened tip will not penetrate the target. So
Right.
sometimes, Santosh, I've seen people who identify, like you said, okay, my boss says, hey, Mayur, come on, good for you. Now I want to see yourself in the next role. Yes, sir. I want to be the assistant manager. I'm an executive. Good for you. After 6 months, are you still looking at it? Yes, sir. What have you done about it? Sir, well, I'm looking at it. So, an archer with a bow, which is fantastic, but with an arrow which doesn't have the pointedness and the sharpness, will still probably not end up penetrating the target. I'm only speaking as a metaphor. Similarly, we should constantly and passionately first identify what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses, probably areas of improvement, and keep sharpening the strengths and improving on the weaknesses. I hope you're getting what
Yeah,
I'm saying, Santosh. I mean,
absolutely.
if you
I
can
think
add
it's
some.
about skills development. It's about being
Yeah,
focused. And also, I think, you can't be laid back and say, okay, I've got it, I've done, and I'm like an executive or a AVP or whatever that designation could be.
sure.
But you should be getting on to the role which you want next. And you should be ambitious about it. And it's not, and it's hard work, right? It's not going to come your
Yes,
way like a piece of cake. So
absolutely.
what we both are trying to tell you is that it's about planning the next day well in advance, and taking very concrete steps towards it.
Correct,
It can't
correct,
be
correct. Absolutely.
rudderless, very specific steps, so that you achieve that aim and be ambitious. And as Mayur rightly put it, you got to be excited about it. You just can't
Yeah,
do it because, oh, because my friend or my person sitting on the next desk got promoted, I too want to be. That's not going to work.
Sure.
So you got to be really
Yeah.
focused and really
Yeah.
concentrate and make sure
You
you
know,
get it. You'll be very
yeah.
ambitious about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Santosh, there are people I've come across who are highly excited about the fact that they have identified a target,
Hmm.
even a personal target. मुझे घर लेना है. वो अपना थाने घोड़बंदर रोड पे मस्त अपार्टमेंट है, घर लेना है. आफ्टर 3 years घर लेना है,
Hmm.
काम नहीं हो रहा है.
Hmm.
So sometimes our passion is stuck only to the goal,
Exactly.
but it's not percolating to how we are going to achieve the goal.
It's,
So
it's like it's
friends,
like
yeah,
just to have to correlate it. It's something that comes to my mind is that Navi Mumbai airport for years now. It's generations now. We've been seeing a board outside when you're coming from Mumbai, Pune, or other way. A board there that talks about an airport. So yeah, there is a goal there. I mean, but then it never ever took taken off literally in the literal sense. So
no, and
that
Santosh,
shouldn't be
the
the
best part is when we see that the post, we get excited
yeah.
that
At least it
आने वाला
motivates you.
है.
Huh. At least the race go on increasing, right?
Yeah.
So
So
that's the
so
point. I think
yeah,
we try
yeah,
to bring this point that you guys got to be focused. There has to be a goal post, but uske aage kya? What is it that you have worked on? I
yeah,
mean, just putting a goal post doesn't work. Yes, there is a goal post, but what are the steps and very concrete, granular level steps? And that's what
yeah.
Mayur is talking about when we talk about corporate archery.
Absolutely. The other thing that I wanted to add, Santosh, is another aspect which is to do with the attitude of the archer. Okay. And I want viewers to understand where I'm coming from. Okay, you have a very sharp skill set. Okay. You have a target. So dono cover up ho gaye, right? You say, okay, I have it. But how can we ensure that every time you will hit the target? Because sometimes the winds may move, if you know what I'm saying. Sometimes environments may change. So one is we have to adapt to changing environments despite our skills being sharpened. Think about it. Another thing is, despite even understanding the environment, failing is an important and integral part of succeeding.
Hmm.
Though it sounds like a dialogue, but it's true that we fail. I mean, I've been following Lionel Messi. All right, there are some matches he doesn't score any goals, and then there are these commentators who are quick to point out, oh, like Sachin Tendulkar, century mara, great. He has also hit a few which are 2 runs, 3 runs, even a duck. So failing is part of succeeding. My point is when an archer shoots the arrow, it is not necessary that every time, despite his efforts, despite the sharpness of the arrow, it hits the target. Sometimes it may not even hit the bullseye. It may not even hit the overall target, but he still perseveres. So, what I'm trying to highlight is at times, despite the target, despite the resources, despite your skill sets, it may happen that you may not achieve your target. Don't get demotivated. Convert that failure into more passion because all we have to do is keep trying. So they say that practice makes a person, not just perfect, but more than that, I think it infuses the person with more confidence. But the attitude should be there to keep trying. I say this because, Santosh, there are executives who want to be managers. There are selling personnel who want to rise, but kabhi kabhi target achieve nahi hota hai. They know they're good, but nahi hota hai. Sometimes the person whom you're selling it to is not interested. Now, you can't hold him and say, no, I want you to buy my product because I want to grow. No, you can't do that. Sometimes it happens that you have to take a step back, assess, find out where you've gone wrong. And that I think is also part of archery as much it is a part of, professional growth.
Yeah.
So just wanted to
Yeah,
highlight that
absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
understanding
failure
failure.
is basically you got to introspect, work on it, and then take the next step. So, I mean, as you rightly put it, archery is yes all about focus, concentration, and reaching that goal post. But there could be events, there could be stakeholders, or there could be conditions which are beyond your control, and that's where you got to take a step back, think about it, and move on. I think the positive thing about is you should. I mean, the right thing about is having a positive mindset and
Yeah,
move on. Keep walking, as they say. Yeah,
correct,
I get
correct,
your point. Yeah.
correct. I at the cost of at the risk of repeating myself, but it is very, very inspiring to me, viewers. There's a nice proverb, and I know Santosh would have heard it before as well in our earlier sessions, but I do want to say that, they say that a ship at the shore will always be safe. A ship at the shore will always be safe. It's a statement with a lot of pregnant meaning, right, Santosh? We always, we
Yeah.
sort of sometimes we talk about it.
Correct.
Because I've always felt that the nature of a ship is not to be at the shore. Despite it may face storms, despite it may almost capsize, but it still understands that its nature is to be in the ocean, to
Exactly.
reach its destination,
Yeah.
despite the failures or difficulties. Human beings' nature is to not be at the shore. I mean, you can always go to Goa and be at the shore. That's a different shore. Here, metaphorically speaking, we need to understand that our nature is to keep trying. Our nature is also to be courageous, because the ocean of life will, throw some difficulties. Yeah, life is full of challenges. But if we give up, no, I think that's what Santosh you're talking about. Failing is going to be there, but if we fight harder, because our goal is still there to be achieved, maybe we need to sharpen new skills as well. Sometimes I've come across myself saying that I did well, only for my boss to tell me you did well here, but some other aspects I think you're not doing well. Like, I may be very good in presentation skills, but what about my analytical skills?
Yeah.
So as we fail, it can also be an opportunity to know where are the other areas, or which are the other areas which we can improve upon as well. That's why they say, I
Absolutely.
think, that Santosh, that failing is a stepping stone to success, because it helps
Absolutely.
you to sort of improve further. So, viewers, before Santosh comes in with his thoughts as well, please understand that Talk Right today is a collective effort. It's not, you may see Santosh and me presenting our thoughts, but even if you are not really literally talking to us, in your mind and through your thoughts, definitely as you're relating to what we're saying, you may have a different point of view as well. I think that interaction is also something that we cherish a lot. I do hope, I'm not concluding this session, but I do hope that as such sessions happen, viewers, Santosh always shares the email address. I do hope that you will share your thoughts, because, when you share your thoughts, we read it, we get enriched, we learn something. Sometimes it helps us for our next session as well. So, wanted to share these things with all of you viewers. Santosh.
Absolutely. So it was a session, a bit of a focus session on being ambitious, being motivated, and more importantly, if there is a failure, introspect. I think that's the key
Yep.
message. So
Yes.
that's what is corporate archery all about.
And here I have actually the bow. I haven't stringed it, viewers, because if I string the bow, I get very tempted to start shooting, and that's not the right thing to do in a house. But I do use it, Santosh, for the outbound sessions that we do, which is really in the outside. And the idea is not to win a tournament. The idea is we do the corporate archer session. So when they hold the bow, and they just shoot a little bit here and there, they get excited. And that's another learning, which is beyond just the specifics of archery, is, viewers, as we lead our life, the 9 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever online sessions, do try and explore some adventure sports. The bow, the arrows, sometimes you can even, try the catapult. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Hindi mein usko ya Marathi mein usko bechki bolte hain, bechki, right? When you do this, na, Santosh, these adventures stuff, as you grow, it actually infuses you with a lot of excitement,
Yeah,
because they say that excitement, enthusiasm, energy, they're the real fuels for us that awaken passion within us. And sometimes
absolutely.
bow and arrow, catapult, making paper planes and throwing it and learning how they're made, that kind of childlike activities as well can awaken those energies within us. So
Absolutely.
a few
Can't
things
agree
that I
more.
wanted to share. So, corporate archer is something we wanted to present to you. Yeah, right, Santosh?
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
hope you'll awaken the archer within you as well. And do
Absolutely. And
try a
do,
little bit of archery.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Do send in your suggestions, your views on Talk Right Today, or our email ID. We have got tons of episodes already up there. So our
Yeah.
email ID, which is talkrighttoday@gmail.com, and it's TALKWRITE and TODAY. So that's talkrighttoday@gmail.com. That's our email ID, and we'd
Yeah.
love to hear from you.
Santosh, remember one thing, and as viewers are watching, the interesting, they may wonder what's the talk right today, in the sense. It's interesting, at least to me, as Santosh explained when we were formulating this, is talk is a metaphor for communication, right? Right is also, as you spell it, WRITE, is also part of communication. But for me, what happened is when you listen to it, it sounds more like RIGHT,
Yeah.
like talk right today. Aaj
Hmm.
rightly baat karo bhaiya. So
And
it's
it's
gonna
today,
be,
not tomorrow. Get on with
it's
it.
today. And it's today. So, they say tomorrow never comes. in the sense procrastination becomes a beautiful challenge for a lot of us. So जो कल करना है वो आज करना है तो अभी कर, you know, and talk as in communicate, which we are hopefully doing with all of you, and do it right, and also do it right. So do write to us at the email address that Santosh has shared, and do participate in such sessions as and how they come across to you. With that, from my
Absolutely.
side, I want to say thank you very much, viewers. And Santosh, it's always a pleasure to interact with you and collaborate with you. And
Same from my
it
side.
always gets me excited all the time.
Absolutely. So thank you to your viewers for joining us on this episode. We come again maybe sometime soon on another episode of Talk Right Today. But for now, from me, Santosh Sirur and Mayur Kalbag, bye for now.
See you.